Hello, welcome to my journey into the media world. I hope everyone is keeping safe and staying well. We often talk too much about my journey into the media world and on YouTube. So today I'm delighted to say that I am joined by Max Stokes of the Villa on Tour YouTube channel. First of all, Max, how's lockdown life treating you?
Not too bad, mate. Keeping indoors like everyone should. I'm going on a walk every day. There's not much else we can be doing, really. I know, like yourself, I'm doing a few videos here and there, which is keeping me entertained. But apart from that, not a fat lot, mate. Just going out of the house once a day, doing a quick walk. But it's not great, but we've got to do what we've got to do. It's not awful. It's not the end of the world. So we just got to carry on, keep doing what we're doing, really.
Yeah, and obviously no one knows what's going to happen. There's always questions about when we're going to come out of lockdown and all stuff like that, but no one really knows. We're going to talk a bit about Villa and the season so far, or if this is the end of the season, whatever, and also about your journey on YouTube and into the media world. So first of all, let's talk about Villa. Let's rewind it all the way back pre-season. How was you feeling?
It's a tough one because a lot of people was thinking like, oh, we could go for sort of mid-table, what Sheffield United have done this season. That is what we could have hoped to have done. But me personally, I don't want to say sensible, but I was fairly realistic. I would have said, let's go for 17th and try and get 17th. And then we can, as long as we progress season after season, that's fine. But it was hard at the start of the season with all the new signings as well. You can't even guess. It was such a hard one to think where Villa would come. But as the season has gone on, it's not looking fantastic. It was never going to be easy. I think people were expecting us to come 17th without losing a game, sort of thing. And when you know Villa fans, when we lose 3 games in a row, for example, everyone gets a bit negative, and it's not ideal. But if we can somehow stay up, I mean, we don't even know if this season's going to carry on, so nobody knows what's going to happen. But I was fairly pessimistic at the start of the season, saying we could go for 17th, and if we can get that, that'd be perfect.
Do you think the fact that we spent over 100 million in the summer made it worse in terms of our fans, in terms of expectations?
Possibly. I think you're getting all these players from France, Germany, Turkey. They're exotic places. And people had no idea on these players. I doubt a lot of people would have heard of the likes of Trezeguet before this season, for example. So that's always going to get people excited because they don't know what to expect. But if you're signing these players for 7, 8, 9 million pounds, they're not going to be world beaters. They're that price for a reason. So yeah, like you said, if we're signing 13 players, spending more money than the majority of clubs in the Premier League, it's going to get people excited, and that might have not worked in our favour because of how poorly the season's gone. So it got people excited, splashing the cash going into the Premier League, but it hasn't really worked out that way. But we'll see.
Yeah, and how do you rate the way Dean Smith has handled his first season in Premier League football?
I like Dean Smith. I'm fully behind him. I think
too.
In recent weeks, good lad. It hasn't gone well, has it? We've lost a few. I think we've lost our last 4 or 5 games before this whole lockdown thing. So it wasn't looking brilliant, but it was always going to be hard for him. I think before, Villa, his highest ever finish was 9th in the Championship with Brentford. So he's not experienced in the Premier League, and he's done as best as he can. He could have done a few things differently, but getting us to a cup final at Wembley was absolutely massive. He's done as well as he can. It was never going to be easy, especially with all the new players as well, getting them to gel. I'm fully behind him still. I think he's the right man. Even if we do go down, I don't really want to think like that. But if we do go down, I want him to stay 100%. But I'm still fully behind him. I think he's the man.
Yeah, I think with Dean Smith, it was always going to be, like you say, a work in progress. And I think over the years at Villa, we've chopped and changed managers. So if we kept, Dean Smith and forever long, even if we go down, I think he's still got the tools to keep us up. And even in the Premier League for another season or however long, or whenever this is going to start again, we've got to give him that chance, in my opinion.
100%. I think we need stability like that. That's pretty much what we need. Like in the last even decade, for example, there's been new managers every 6 months, every year, and it's just not going to work. I think that's sort of embedded into Villa fans' mind now that if it's not going right, if it's not going right, we need to change the manager just like that. And I don't think that's the right thing to do with Dean Smith. I think for once at Villa, we need a bit of stability. And even if we do go down, I think we'd have a decent squad. Obviously, we'd lose the big names, Grealish, McGinn, if we do go down. But, we've still got a decent skeleton there of a good side. And I wouldn't sack Dean Smith if we do go down. Like I said, I don't want to think like that. But if the worst does happen, then I'm still fully behind him. We need stability at this club because we haven't had that for a long time, it feels like.
Yeah, I think we've got to, as stupid as it sounds, trial stability and see where it takes us, because you never know what can happen in football. And if we keep the core of our squad and keep as many players as possible, even if we stay up, then I think we can really try and kick on. Talk to me about Jack Grealish.
Love the guy. Absolutely love the guy. Off the pitch, in recent times, he's had a bit of misdemeanors, but I absolutely love the guy. In terms of on the pitch, he's got this sort of talent with the ball that I've never seen before. The way he just carries the ball and it sort of sticks to his feet. I've never seen anything like that. Obviously, I've seen a lot of rubbish watching Villa because we have been poor in the last few years. But he's carried the team this season, let's be honest. In terms of this season alone, he's carried us. I think he's taken that step up to the Premier League when we got promoted so well. The start of the season, it took him maybe a month or two to really find his feet. But once he did, there was no stopping him. If we didn't have him, I probably think we'd be bottom of the league. I think he's added goals to his games. He's added assists to his game. So he's a great player. And even with the players he's got around him aren't the best, let's be honest. If he had better players around him, who knows where he'd be. And I think, he's getting attention from Man United, Liverpool, whoever, for a reason. Yeah. Like he's a fantastic player. He's still only 24, so his prime is still to come. Brilliant players, a joy to watch. How long, will we get to see him? I don't know. But the time that we do have, we need to cherish it because he's such a fantastic player.
You just took the words out of my mouth there. I was just about to mention that. We have to take Jack Grealish and, enjoy him for as long as we can because, like you say, who knows how long he's going to be here. What do you think about the links with Man United and all that? I know we don't really want to talk about it too much, but a player of that strength is always going to be linked with bigger clubs.
100%. I think he's a big fish in a small pond at the moment. Let's be honest. He's such a fantastic player in a team that's in the relegation zone. So there's always going to be attention on him, especially with him being English as well. You see the constant, comparisons to James Maddison and how well he's doing. So he was going to get, let's be honest, Grealish was going to get a call up for England before this thing whole happened for the friendlies we were going to have in March, I think, that got postponed. But yeah, there's attention on him for a reason. I think if we do go down 100%, he'll get his move because he deserves it. And a player of his caliber cannot play in the Championship, let's be honest. He's done it for the last 3 years anyway. So his Man United is the one, isn't it? That's the club that he's strongly linked with. And I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's not.
I can't vision the picture of him in a Man United shirt.
Nah, imagine that announcement. I don't even want to think about it now. It's horrible.
Right, move on. One thing I want to talk about is this season, one of our biggest problems has been the defence. How do we go about solving that problem?
I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. It is, yeah. I think we've done this, for example, like from corners that we've conceded. Like Tyrone Mings has been sort of for the free roam. He's he's not marked anyone, and I do not understand that because, for example, that was what let us down. I think it was the Rodri header in the cup final. He just had a free header. I think it was Gilbert marking Rodri, who's like 6'4". So I don't know whether that's a training ground routine that hasn't gone wrong, but we were still doing it in the Leicester game. So I just think we don't learn from our mistakes. And I think mistakes is as well where we've gone wrong, because you look at the Tottenham game at home, was it middle of February or something like that when we lost in the last minute? We were very good in that first half, and even a point I don't think was fair because I think we controlled that game, and again a mistake at the end of the game denied us a point. And if you look at the start of the season as well, away at Tottenham, away at Arsenal, if we'd have just concentrated that little bit longer, we could have picked up some massive results. And defensively we've conceded the most in the league, haven't we? And it's not great at all.
It's so frustrating because, like you say, we've played so well against top teams this season, and there obviously is potential there, and there is room for, to be a great side, and we just haven't quite seen that yet. And hopefully, if we do stay in the league, we can see more of that and more of players gelling.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a skeleton of a good side there. You look at Mings, he's had his critics this season. He has, to be fair to him, made a few mistakes as well, but I just think the quality isn't quite there. I think like I said earlier, we've picked up the sort of players like Courtney Hawes, who wasn't even getting in the Wolves squad in the Championship. Ezri Konsa, who was a Championship player. Mings, who hadn't played in the Premier League much. Engels, who hadn't played in the Premier League at all. So putting all these players together, it's not great. If you give them a couple of years to gel, we'd probably do much better. But if you're putting them all together into a Premier League starting 11 and say, you need to stay up, it's not as easy as it probably sounds. And that's where we were maybe a little bit naive as fans at the start of the season. But yeah, who knows, man? Because if we stay this year and we can progress and get these players to gel, we could, get a mid-table Premier League side in a few years. But it's just that first sort of step of staying up that we're struggling with at the moment.
Yeah, we've got to make that first step first, haven't we? On a positive note, in terms of Villa in terms of lockdown, there's been some pretty impressive stuff in terms of Villa and what they're doing. This is a tweet from Ashley Preston, if you saw it. Chester makes flat available for doctors. Gabby and Grealish raising up to 50k in raffles. JT donating 250k. North Stand revamped into maternity centre. Squad deferring a quarter of the wages until September. And then Villa Park chefs cooking 500 meals a week for the vulnerable. That just shows that, during this tough time, we've still got a club that, cares about the community.
It's fantastic what the club are doing. I think, was it Gabby and Grealish were doing the raising the money for shirts and donating all the money to the NHS, which is fantastic. And they didn't have to do that as well. They didn't, have to do that, and they've taken the time out of their, it's not a busy schedule, but you know what I mean. They've done so well there. And yeah, like you said, with the North Stand, the maternity unit, it is fantastic. And you see, I think it was Liverpool and Tottenham got a lot of critics for furloughing all their staff when they probably didn't need to, because let's be honest, they're such massively rich clubs. They didn't have to do that. And they got a lot of critics and went back on that. So Villa didn't do that. I think all the players have taken a 25% pay cut, haven't they? And it's, fair play to them. The club's gone about it fantastically well. So yeah, massive credit to Aston Villa.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think they took the time and, they've done it the right way, like you say. In terms of the whole, when's football going to be back, all this sort of stuff, it's all up in the air at the moment. It's an absolute mess. But what would you want to happen?
Ooh, as a Villa fan, I'm going to be biased and say void the season. Just get rid of it, because it would mean us staying up, wouldn't it? And us being 19th at the moment. I know we've got a game in hand, but I don't see us winning that, let's be honest. So I'd probably say void it. But then again, you got to look at the likes of, as much as I don't like them, Albion, Leeds, Liverpool, that have done so well this season. And 100%, I think Liverpool deserve the title, but they haven't actually won it yet. So I don't think you can give it to them. It feels like every week a new league is voiding. I think Belgium were the first. I think they gave the title to whoever it was. The Netherlands and France have gone a similar way. So I don't know. I think the issue is the money in the Premier League. I think they're solely focused on money, because if money had nothing to do with it, I think for the safety and health of people, they'd just say cancel it. But I don't know, the TV rights and everything like that's where it's causing problems. But if it was me, I'd say void it. Because who knows when the problem is, we don't even know when it's going to be back. If we somehow knew a date, we could plan around that, but we can't start to make plans until this is all over. And I think the health of people has to come first. As much as we're all missing football, the health of people has to come first. I don't think it's even sensible to talk about football coming back when there's still people, dying, and it's not great. It's not great.
No, and I think the Premier League has to follow in terms of government advice, and until it can come back. And like you say, lives are far more important in terms of football at the moment.
Absolutely. I don't think fans are going to be allowed into grounds for a long time. No. I think firstly we're going to see behind closed doors, but even then you've got to think about the staff on the bench. I don't know, physios, things like that. There's a lot of people, not just the starting 11 in a football ground, like ambulance people that are going to have to be there at the football match when they could be doing other things and helping other people. So it's so tough, but yeah, people have got to come first.
It's such a sticky one. I saw someone say on Twitter today that we should null and void the season, however continue the Europa League and Champions League. I'm like, that doesn't...
How's that work? No.
It said something about doing it over the weekend, over behind closed doors.
Nah, if you got to call one thing off, you got to call everything off, because it's just gonna cause problems. But we'll see, mate. We'll see.
We could talk for hours about that subject and probably not get to a resolution.
Thank you so much for watching part 1 of the Villa on Tour interview on my YouTube channel. We got an insight into what Max Stokes thought about Villa's season so far, and what should happen with the current Premier League situation. Stay safe, everyone, and keep well. And don't forget to look out for part 2 of the Villa on Tour interview, where we'll get an insight into Villa on Tour's journey.
Hit the subscribe button and follow my journey to the media world. Click the video choices on screen to see more of my work.